Sure, everybody is inspired from our last speaker there, David Gillick, and you're very welcome to our session, our final session on the communities of practice, to introduce you to areas where colleagues are keen to share areas where they would like to explore further with other colleagues within the higher education, careers and placement services. So to lead out in this particular community of practice, we are delighted to be able to welcome today Christine Higgins, who is Employer Engagement Manager with UCD. And just as we've said with all other communities of practice, AHEX is really keen to support members to come together, to share, to discuss, to flesh out each other's practice in relation to areas of mutual interest. And this area of employer engagement is the area which I suppose Christine is presenting today, and would like to hear your thoughts and views also in terms of continuing this work for an AHEX community of practice. So I'd like to welcome on stage now, Christine.
Hi, thanks, Catherine.
Thanks, Christine. So Christine's going to talk about approximately 15 minutes, Christine, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. And as always, please do post any questions in the chat or Q&A function. Okay, over to you, Christine. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. Now, can everyone see that? So welcome, Communities Practice of Employer Engagement Briefing. My name is Christine Higgins and I'm the newly appointed Employer Engagement Manager for UCD. We have first approached AHEX looking to establish an employer engagement forum. Then we quickly realized it was going to be a community of practice. So the first thing is to define what a communities of practice is. And it's a group of people who share a concern or passion for something they do and want to learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. And this is exactly the reason why the Community of Practice of Employer Engagement was created. I started in this role in January this year, and in the first few months, I quickly realized that the employer engagement and what it was like pre-COVID was quickly evolving into a virtual space, and it was moving very fast. Seeing as we're moving into a new way of working, I felt the need to look for support and more collaboration between colleges, as we're all experiencing the same movement to online activities. And I felt we needed to start talking about how we can embrace such change and in our approach of employer engagement going forward. So I reached out to Miriam Jones in DCU and Rena Sheridan in Trinity College. So the background, we started meeting once a month from the 3rd of March. And to discuss all things employer engagement, so like the challenges we were facing, the best practices, what worked in each college, and then the move on to the new online activities, such as the virtual career fairs, employer events, and increased social media use. And then the last 3 meetings that we had, it evolved into bringing in the key graduate recruiters to discuss the recruitment landscape. So we brought in EY, Deloitte, and KPMG. The feedback from the employers is that they thought this was really good, and seeing the cohesive collaboration between colleges at these meetings was really beneficial for them too. So we decided to establish a community of practice for employer engagement. The objective of this community of practice is to enhance professional practice in the area of employer engagement, create a sense of common purpose so all AHEC members feel engaged and represented, be inclusive and provide open membership to anyone in the AHEX community who is interested in or has an admin role in employer engagement. A cohesive collaboration among universities to share, discuss and support each other in relation to employer engagement, and to facilitate member engagement around shared challenges, problems, innovations and ideas. The structure. So the structure would be monthly online meeting during term time, to discuss best practices and feedback regarding employer engagement, discussions on the skill sets and employability factors students must possess to be successful in the workplace, current economic business trends and how they relate to recruitment process, marketing to today's young adults, discuss employer needs and perspectives and how each college can best meet these, and also to generate new ideas. We decided through the summer months is to roll out a summer employer information sharing session. This will happen every 2 weeks, only during summertime. And we plan to invite employers from different sectors to get a more rounded view of the jobs market, in particular sectors that will be impacted by the pandemic. For example, aviation, pharma, medtech, and also for the good retail as well. The structure is evolving, so in the short term to medium term, we have the employer information sharing series and a commitment to meet up once per month during term time. As the community grows over time, members will have an opportunity to influence the structure and content of our meeting, plus suggest or initiate any special interest in ways of research projects that we might establish, and so on. And also our community of practice is completely autonomous and flexible in terms of topics worked on, time commitment, and the process of engagement. The benefits, hopefully, coming on board community practice is increased connection and collaboration, clarification on new emerging skill sets for students, positively impacting the work of employer engagement through sharing knowledge and experience, highlight any fluctuations in the job market in different industries and sectors, and discuss new employer engagement activities post-COVID, online versus face-to-face. If you're interested in joining Community of Practice and Employer Engagement, you can email me on christine.higgins@ucd.ie and I'll send you out a form. This meetings, you will be added to a calendar of meetings, and then all meetings will be held on Zoom. The facilitators are in joint collaboration with myself and Miriam Jones from DCU. And that is it.
Thanks a million, Christine, and thanks for providing such clear structure and clarity. The actual community of practice being rolled out, I suppose. So we'll take any questions that people have. We can post them in the chat or the Q&A. But I suppose in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to happen, Christine, are there any particular areas yourself that you would be, I suppose, wanting to prioritise as a project or an area?
It's definitely, like, the buzzword is the hybrid approach, you know, what it's going to look like for the coming academic year. You know, and like a lot of our employers are coming saying, oh, we've heard about the hybrid approach and what's that going to look like? And we're saying we hear it too. And there's just like, the expectation is on the university to know what we're doing. And the expectation from the university is that the employers know what they're doing. So it's more to have a chat around that area as well, and open up the discussion about it, and to sort of define what actually is the hybrid approach and how we can roll it out in the new year. The academic year. So to, I suppose, brainstorm with people who also are interested around that engagement piece in hybrid times, as you say, and being able to replicate good ideas around that would be an area that you're particularly interested in. I think there'll be a lot of people who are looking towards that as well. So in order for people to find out more, to contact you directly, I suppose that would be the best way, Christine, as you said already on your presentation. And we could maybe pop your email address, if that's okay, into the chat function, and we can sort of share that around as well. Yeah, go easy on me though.
Yeah, sure. There has been a question coming through about how will the community of practice share information with all AHEX members? I suppose that could be a question either for ourselves and the executive, as opposed to for yourself in terms of the sharing of information. But while you are autonomous as a community of practice, you will be sharing what you're coming up with in your key project with the executive of AHEX, and then we will in turn distribute that and circulate to the AHEX members. Would that be also your view of how things would work, Christine?
Yeah, 100%. And also, you know, the monthly newsletter that goes out, or is it quarterly? Is that what?
Yes,
yeah. So we would hopefully feed into that newsletter as well of any findings or any you know, information that we feel that is relevant to include in it, that we'll be sending over to the AHEX members and through the newsletter.
So through the newsletter, through our web site as well. So anything that is relevant that should be for coming out of any of the communities of practice will be hosted in both of those opportunities, as well as other, I suppose, platforms as well. Yeah. It's sometimes, I suppose, I'm just looking at some questions coming through now. People saying really well done, a great initiative, and ideas, I suppose, about wondering whether how to support employers about hybrid internship and grad programs as well. It's been something that's coming through as a theme. And ideas of timelines. So you're saying that it will be really working through term time. So in terms of this, maybe starting off, is there an idea of when you'd like to establish this or set this up as a start?
Well, we have provisionally put in like the first Wednesday of every month for the term time, and then it'll be every second week during the summer. So I think the next one is happening in either next week or next week. Sorry, I have to double check that, but I can, if you email me, I can confirm the date.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, so I suppose those questions are coming through. So people who are interested in either coming up with other ideas around employer engagement to and bring that in as part of this community of practice, to contact Christine directly, and we'll be circulating these details as well following our.
Sorry, Catherine. Rena's just put in there. Yeah, it's next Wednesday at 3:30. Thanks, Rena.
That's the next grouping of that particular one. Okay. Okay. So I suppose what we'll do there is, if there's no more questions coming through, we'll leave it for people to make direct contact with yourself, Christine, and best of luck with the